The loop you never noticed.
I got you, homie.
Let me ask you something strange, something that might shake you. What if this exact moment has already happened? What if you've lived this life before? Every breath, every blink, every heartbreak on repeat, and you just don't remember. Sounds crazy, right? But think about it. Ever had déjà vu? A gut feeling that something familiar is unfolding? Maybe that's not a glitch. Maybe it's a clue. What if time doesn't move forward like we think, but loops, a perfect circle playing the same song over and over? Welcome to the concept of eternal recurrence, a haunting theory that shows up in ancient philosophy, modern quantum science, and deep spiritual traditions. It's not just an idea, it's a mirror, a challenge. Because if this is your millionth time living this life, how are you doing with it? Imagine waking up tomorrow and realizing this very morning had already happened, that everything you're doing is exactly what you did yesterday and the day before that. Not just similar, but identical. Every blink, every breath, every word. The theory suggests that time doesn't march forward, it spins like a wheel. We aren't moving through moments, we're orbiting them. Think about a song on loop. You hear the same lyrics, same beats, but you still feel new emotions each time. Maybe life is like that. This concept isn't just a cool idea to mess with your head, it's deeply disturbing once you really sit with it. Because if it's true, then you're not just making choices today, you've already made them, over and over. You're trapped in a silent, invisible loop, one where your failures, your heartbreaks, your missed chances, they all keep playing out. Not because you're cursed, but because the cycle keeps spinning and you don't remember the last turn. But here's the twist. With every loop, you get another shot, a fresh start without even realizing it. It's terrifying, but it's also hopeful. A prison and a gift. The scariest part? You'll never know how many times you've done this. Could be the first, could be the millionth. And those new decisions you're making, they might be old patterns in disguise. The loop could be living you before you even realize you're living in it. Now take a breath and really imagine this. What if this exact moment you're living right now is a rerun? You've sat in that chair, had those thoughts, heard this exact video, not once, but hundreds, maybe thousands of times. And every time, you think it's the first. That little decision you made this morning, the smile you gave a stranger, the words you hesitated to say, they've all echoed through countless lifetimes. What if your smallest actions aren't small at all, but threads in a pattern that never ends? A loop where everything matters because everything repeats. The coffee you sipped, the message you almost sent, the dream you nearly chased. It's all part of a story you keep living, over and over, and that leads to a life-altering question. If this life does repeat forever, how would you choose to live it? Would you burn daylight on endless scrolls, argue with people who don't matter, or delay the very things your soul aches for? Or would you start running toward your purpose like it's already slipping away? Would you laugh louder, forgive faster, love without armor? If the loop is real, every single moment today becomes eternal. Every kind gesture, every honest word, every brave step, it doesn't disappear. It echoes forever. This isn't about fear, it's about perspective. The idea of eternal recurrence doesn't just challenge how we see time, it challenges how we value it. And maybe that's the secret hidden within the loop. We're not meant to escape it, we're meant to learn from it, to grow through it, to master it. Because if we're stuck in a cycle, we have two options: suffer through it or evolve inside it. That very idea that we might be living the same life over and over was deeply explored by philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche in the 1800s. He called it the most terrifying thought imaginable. Picture this: you're lying in bed one quiet night and a demon appears, not to scare you, but to whisper a truth. This life you're living now, you will live again, and again, forever, without change. How would you react if a voice whispered in the dark, you will live this exact life again, and again, forever? Would your heart swell with pride or sink with regret? That was Nietzsche's terrifying question, not meant to scare you into silence, but to jolt you awake, to shake the dust off your routine, and ask the one question that changes everything. Are you living a life worth repeating? If you had to relive every moment, every joy, every heartbreak, every hesitation, would you celebrate it? Or would you wish you had done more, loved harder, forgiven faster? Evolution doesn't begin with some grand event. It starts with awareness. It begins the moment you realize this life could be the one you live again, endlessly. And that awareness, it changes how you see every moment. Nietzsche wasn't trying to predict the future. He was daring us to transform the present. His idea slices through distraction like a blade. Would I be proud to do this all over again? Am I spending time like it's infinite or like it actually matters? Because if every second echoes into eternity, why waste another one scrolling? Why let fear stall your dreams or ego block your love? Maybe it's time to wake up, show up, live like this moment counts. Because if the loop is real, then this life isn't just precious, it's permanent. Now, here's where things get even stranger. As wild as Nietzsche's idea sounds, modern science might actually back it up. Physicists today are rethinking time itself. Some believe time is not a straight arrow, but a loop, a cycle where past, present, and future might exist simultaneously. In quantum physics, particles behave unpredictably. They flicker in and out of existence. They affect things in the past. They glitch in ways we can't fully explain. And then there's déjà vu, that eerie moment when you feel like you've been here before. Is it just a hiccup in your brain, or is it your subconscious catching a glimpse of the loop? Science doesn't have the answers yet, but the deeper we go into quantum theory, the more reality starts to resemble a dream, a structured, repeating dream that we might be stuck in. So now, merge Nietzsche's challenge with science's mystery. What if he wasn't warning us about a fantasy, but about something real? What if you really are reliving this life again and again? The question is no longer just philosophical, it's personal, it's scientific, and it's becoming harder to ignore. Because while theory and physics point toward loops, real-world stories bring the idea to life, visceral, emotional, and impossible to ignore. Scattered across the globe are chilling accounts from children, tiny voices telling stories far beyond their years, names they've never learned, towns they've never visited, lives they've never lived, yet somehow remember. One young boy described the crash of a World War II fighter plane, detailing the type of aircraft, the battle, and the sensation of dying in mid-air before he was even old enough to read. In another part of the world, a little girl guided her parents through a remote Indian village, identifying her former house, greeting strangers as if they were family, and calling a man she'd never met her husband from a past life. When investigators followed up, they were stunned. Names, addresses, and even obscure family secrets were accurate. Perfectly accurate. Science often calls these events anecdotal, easily dismissed. But let's be real, how many perfect anecdotes do we need before it stops looking like coincidence and starts looking like truth? These aren't ghost stories, they're breadcrumbs, clues from something deeper, and maybe, just maybe, they're proof we've been here before. What if these children aren't just imagining? What if they're not inventing fantasy stories, but accessing real memories, memories from previous loops? Maybe they're evidence that time, identity, and death aren't as straightforward as we think, that these kids are recalling echoes from lives lived before, or lives lived side by side in alternate realities. Either way, it points to something astonishing. Death might not be the end, it might just be the reset button. Now take this further. Let's bring in the idea of the multiverse, a popular theory that suggests infinite versions of reality exist side by side. According to this idea, there are infinite yous, living infinite lives, making every possible choice. A version of you who moved abroad, a version who stayed home, a version who took that chance, and one who didn't. But here's a mind twister. What if that's not true? What if there are not infinite yous, but only one soul, one consciousness, one you, repeating the same existence over and over, not diverging, but looping. And each time the loop begins, your memory is wiped clean, so it all feels new. Every heartbreak, every joy, every moment of déjà vu. When you whisper, "This feels familiar," or you swear you've lived something before, maybe you have. Maybe that's not just a glitch. Maybe it's a scar from the last time you walked this path, a trace left by the soul as it circles back around. So whether these stories come from children or from strange feelings we all experience, they point in one direction. We are more than flesh and memory. We may be beings of recurrence, living echoes, repeating, remembering, slowly waking up. And humanity has tried to explain that pattern since the beginning of time. One of the most powerful symbols of that cycle is the Ouroboros, a snake eating its own tail. At first glance, it looks bizarre, even unsettling, but look deeper and it reveals something profound, a symbol of infinity, of time collapsing in on itself. Birth, death, rebirth, an endless return, the cycle of everything. It's not just a mythological doodle, it's a cosmic map. Stars explode and are reborn. Civilizations rise and fall. Trees shed and blossom again. And so do we, emotionally, spiritually, mentally. You are part of that rhythm. The same decisions, the same relationships, the same lessons, repeating until you evolve, until you rise above the loop or master it. The real meaning of the Ouroboros isn't just repetition, it's completion, mastery. It's the soul closing the circle saying, I've learned, I've grown, I'm ready. The snake doesn't eat its tail out of hunger, it does it to seal the cycle, to graduate. Most people live like there's endless time, but what if tomorrow is exactly like today? What if your loop doesn't break until you do something different? The Ouroboros isn't a warning, it's an invitation to wake up, to live purposefully, to transform your loop into a ladder. And if you live well, fearlessly, intentionally, maybe you'll reach a point where the idea of living this life again doesn't terrify you, it inspires you. And maybe that's the goal, to make your loop so meaningful, you'd gladly live it again. At first glance, it looks strange, maybe even a little disturbing, but look closer, and it holds a profound message. The Ouroboros represents infinity, the never-ending cycle, birth, death, rebirth, time folding back in on itself. Nothing truly ends. Everything begins again. It's not just an ancient drawing, it's a map. A guide to understanding how the universe works. Just like the stars explode and are reborn, just like civilizations rise, fall, and rise again, so do we, emotionally, spiritually, mentally. You are the cycle. The same mistakes, the same lessons, the same crossroads. They return again and again until you choose differently, until you break the pattern or perfect it. The Ouroboros, the snake eating its own tail, isn't just about being stuck. It's about mastering the cycle. Most people keep repeating the same days, thinking they'll change tomorrow. But what if tomorrow is just another today? That deja vu, that strange pull toward people or places, maybe it's not random. Maybe it's your soul remembering, a signal that you've been here before. And this time, you need to break the pattern or master it, because you're not here to escape the loop. You're here to rise inside it. Enjoyed this journey? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more mind-bending explorations like this. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a twist in the loop. Got thoughts or deja vu moments of your own? Drop them in the comments. We read every one. And if you believe someone needs to hear this, share it. Maybe it's their time to wake up too.